Juniors League by Brian Kiley. Act 1, exterior, Fenway Park, night. Interior locker room night. Baseball players in various states of dress change in a crowded locker room. The players are in their mid-20s to early 30s, except Andrew Jenkins Sr., known here as Senior, 43, a wily, grizzled veteran. Interior manager's office night. Young manager, 40, sits in his office as there's a knock on his door and Senior enters.
You want to see me?
Have a seat.
Great job today moving the chess pieces around the board.
We lost by 6 runs.
Oh, I know, but it could have been much worse without your skilled hand at the tiller.
Listen, Wilson's drug test turned up positive.
What drugs was he using?
All of them. He's suspended for the rest of the season, so we're sending you down.
Sending me down? I just took Kershaw deep for the first time.
You took him deep? He struck you out.
No, I meant deep into the count. He must have thrown like 8 pitches.
Let's take a look at your stats, shall we?
The young manager clicks on his computer.
Andrew Jenkins Sr., batting 194, no home runs, 3 RBIs.
I'm about to break out of my slump.
You've been in it for 11 years. Look, the only reason you were on this team is because you can catch Wilson's knuckleball and the other guys can't. But now that Wilson's out for the season...
let me finish the year. It's almost over and then I'll retire.
It's May. Look, we'll put you on waivers, but no one will claim you. You're older than I am.
Well, that's just it. You can't send me to Pawtucket at my age.
We're not. We're sending you to Lewiston.
Lewiston? That's not AAA, that's AA. I'm losing an entire A.
You could.
What if I refuse?
You could. Then you don't get the rest of your $1.5 million contract. Your ex-wives aren't going to like that.
Why Lewiston?
As a young pitcher, we're grooming to be our future closer. He throws low 90s, but he lacks focus. We think he can mature and throw in the high 90s.
All right. I know how to work with young pitchers.
They just signed him out of one of those fancy liberal arts colleges.
You don't mean...
Yeah, we want you to mentor him. His name is Andrew Jenkins Jr.
Interior Hampton Inn hallway day. Andrew Jenkins Jr., hereby known as Junior, 22, socially conscious, wears earbuds and carries his luggage. Interior hotel room day. Junior knocks on the door and Nathan Grisby, 23, suspicious, opens the door.
Who are you?
I'm Andrew Jenkins. I'm your new roommate.
Oh. That's your bed.
Junior starts to unpack.
I should warn you, my roommates are cursed. 2 have been traded, 1 was sent down, and 3 are now Uber drivers.
Well, I'm not gonna end up an Uber driver.
How do you know?
I don't have a driver's license. Like, I refuse to get one while biofuels are destroying this planet's carbon footprint. Besides, I've got Misty.
Who's Misty?
Junior pulls out his dilapidated stuffed elephant.
My good luck charm. He helped me win our city's Little League championship, and he helped me with my state championship in high school. With him, I can't lose.
Interior motel room day. Francis Owings, 35, determined, knocks on the door of manager Houghton, 60, dumb. He opens it.
Yeah,
I'm looking for manager Houghton.
I'm married.
He closes the door.
What?
She knocks again, he opens it again.
I'm not a groupie. I'm the new team psychologist.
What happened to Bendix?
Rehab.
Can't say I'm surprised. That guy drinks almost as much as I do. Now listen, you're here to help us win. If you can talk these guys into winning using whatever mumbo jumbo you got them, you'll keep your job.
As a psychologist, I can only delve into their psyches. I can't do...
Good night.
He slams the door on her. Interior motel room night. Junior and Grisby play a video game. There's a knock on the door. It's Senior.
Who are you?
I'm Andrew Jenkins.
We already have one.
Senior looks past Grisby and sees Junior and Misty.
What are you doing here?
I'm your new catcher.
Well, just put down 1 finger for fastball and I'll give you 1 finger back. I've got nothing to say to you.
He slams the door on his dad. Interior bus morning. Senior boards the bus and looks around for an empty seat. Ramon Rodriguez, 22, cerebral, sits reading a psychology book next to Carlos Hernandez, 21, carefree, in Spanish.
Why do you read those books?
Baseball's a mental game. You have to psych out your opponent. Who's that old guy?
Grispy said he's our new catcher.
No way. They must check his prostate between innings.
At least I have a prostate. You two probably have ovaries.
Ramon and Carlos stare at him in shock.
6 años en el League de Mexicano.
Senior turns and sits next to Junior. Junior gets up and moves his seat. Senior sees. Interior home game day. Francis meets with Senior.
I'm meeting with everyone on the team. These are just standard questions. All right, your name,
Andrew Jenkins, Senior.
age.
What difference does that make?
For some people, it makes a difference in their maturity.
43.
Married?
Divorced.
How many times?
3 times. Okay? I've been married and divorced 3 times.
And your first wife was Junior's mother?
Yes, his mother and I had sex and we produced him.
And what position?
Gosh, hard to remember. Probably reverse cowgirl?
I meant what position do you play on the team?
Catcher.
Okay. How's your hitting?
I can't hit. Okay, is that what you want to hear?
You're defensive?
Of course I'm defensive. You're asking all kinds of embarrassing questions.
I mean, you're a defensive catcher?
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty good at throwing out base runners and handling pitchers.
Cut to interior home game day. Francis interviews Junior.
Name.
Andrew Jenkins Jr.?
Now, your dad's also on the team?
Yes.
And you're a pitcher?
She looks up. Junior is crying.
Oh, boy.
Interior bus day. Houghton sits next to Francis.
So, did you talk to all the
I
players?
did.
What did Jenkins Jr. say?
I can't violate the patient psychologist's trust.
I'm not asking you to violate anybody, just tell me what he said.
Tell you what, I'll let you know when there's a problem.
Interior field day.
Not only are the Lou Sox playing tonight, it's also the night of my oldest daughter's dance recital. She's just starting to grow breasts. Hope she's not too self-conscious.
Francis, listening to the game on the radio, cringes in Spanish.
Hey, what do you throw?
Fastball, curve, slider.
Senior goes to get behind the plate. He's crying. Umpire Chester McNally, 50, stares at him.
You okay up there, Jenkins?
Yeah, that kid on the mound. His mom died this morning, but he insisted on pitching anyway. He wants to honor her memory. That's a tough one.
Cut to a quick montage of umpire McNally calling batters out on questionable pitches.
That's 13 strikeouts for Rodriguez today. And his mom and dad are here. Glad somebody gets to see their family.
Ramon's mom and dad cheer. Interior field later.
With the Lou Sox winning by 3 in the 8th, manager Houghton brings in Andrew Jenkins Jr.
Junior runs in from the bullpen. Houghton and Senior are on the mound waiting for him.
Throw it in such a way that they can't hit it.
Houghton returns to the dugout.
Hey, what do you throw?
I'm not talking to you.
They continue talking with their gloves blocking their mouths.
Someday I'm going to tell you my side of the story.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. You left when I was 7. That's all I need to know.
I was signed by the Japanese league. I begged your mother to come with me.
Guys, the game.
Yeah, good dad would have stayed.
I wanted to stay. The Pirates released me.
Guys, break it up.
Cut to exterior field moments later. Senior puts down one finger. Junior throws a fastball. It registers 88 on the scoreboard. Interior dugout, same time.
88? 88 isn't 93.
Exterior field moments later. Junior throws another pitch. It's ripped for a double. The scoreboard registers the pitch at 87.
Time!
Senior goes out to the mound. They cover the mouths with their gloves again.
I thought you threw 92, 93.
Yeah, I'm tired. I was up late watching a documentary on the overpopulation problem in the slums of Mumbai.
Okay. Well, we got an overpopulation problem right here. We got runners on first and third.
I see. So you don't care about the world as a whole. You just only care about self-centered interests.
I mean, you shouldn't be up late watching documentaries when you got to pitch the next day.
Umpire McNally comes out.
Now stop trying to act like my dad.
I'm actually not your dad.
What?
Your mother had sex with Mr. Covington next door.
Mr. Covington was gay.
Your mother also had sex with the school principal. She had sex with the mailman. She was the town slut.
You take that back.
Break it up, guys.
Cut to a quick montage of an angry junior firing the ball past each hitter. It's registering 96 on the scoreboard.
That's 3 straight strikeouts for Jenkins Jr., who looks impressive in his debut. There's some kind of disturbance in the dugout.
Junior is trying to get at senior. Exterior field. Later, Grisby comes in to pitch.
With a 3-run lead, Nathan Grisby is in to pitch the 9th.
Whatever you do, don't give up 3 runs.
Cut to a montage of Grisby getting hit hard.
And Grisby lets up 3 in the 9th. I was supposed to attend my eldest daughter's dance recital, but Grisby can't hold a 3-run lead.
Interior announcer's booth later.
The Blue Sox lose in 14 innings. More importantly, I missed my daughter's recital. Do you think my wife recorded it for me on her phone? Fat chance. Passive aggressive much, Joan?
Interior locker room night. Manager Houghton pitches a fit.
Damn it, Grisby! I specifically told you not to give up 3 runs. I'm sick of losing. Grisby, you're benched. Junior, you're closing tomorrow.
Senior beams. Grisby sees. Junior nods and retreats to his locker where he proudly passes good luck charm Misty. End of Act 1. Act 2. Exterior parking lot day. Houghton is about to enter the stadium when Francis catches up with him.
Listen, I think you should go easy on Jenkins Jr.
What's the problem?
Well, I can't get into the specifics, but he and his dad have a rocky relationship. I think you need to be patient with him. Oh, and maybe the post-game meals, there should be some vegan options.
Vegan? What do you mean, like veal?
No, not exactly.
Interior manager Houghton's office day. Houghton sits behind his desk in front of senior and junior.
I understand we got a problem.
I don't have a problem.
Just keep him away from me and we won't have a problem either.
Billy Martin was my hero. He was the greatest baseball manager of all time. He used to say, if Adolf Hitler hit 300, he'd be in my lineup every day. I feel the same way. Now, I only care about winning. I don't care if you're Hitler and you're Mussolini. I want you two to get along.
Hitler and Mussolini did get along. They were allies.
You know, that's true. Did you know Hitler even rescued Mussolini after he was captured by the Allies?
You know, stop trying to teach me stuff. I went to college, you didn't.
Look, you don't have to like each other. You just have to get along on the field.
Interior field night.
Pitching tonight for the Blue Sox is the Japanese left-hander Kawhi Kochu. Used to be able to make fun of names like that, but you can't anymore. Those were the days.
Interior locker room day. Kawai Kochu, 25, a polite and formal Japanese man, approaches senior with his interpreter, 30.
Mr. Jenkins, Mr. Kochu, would like to go over the scouting reports with you.
Kawai bows to senior. Senior looks around the room.
Any other pitchers want to go over the scouting reports with me?
Get lost.
Junior walks away. In Japanese.
He should not speak so disrespectfully to his father. Elderly people should be revered.
Hey, Peach Cheeks. I'm not elderly. I'm middle-aged.
Kawai and his interpreter stare at senior in shock.
What? I spent 3 years in the Japanese league.
Interior announcer's booth.
I'd like to wish a happy birthday to my middle daughter, Carly. Tried to get the night off, pumpkin, I really did. Management said no. They claim to be all about family, but when it comes right down to it, it's all about the almighty dollar. They'd have to shell out a few bucks to let a man who's worked tirelessly for years and is just trying to make his daughter with behavioral issues feel special. They were willing to do it.
Aw, interior locker room evening. Howden gives the team a pep talk.
This is a big game for us. They just signed a big slugger, an Oriental kid.
Coach, that's not okay.
I agree. He should stay in his own league. No offense, Kawhi.
Kawhi, not understanding English, nods and smiles. Exterior field night.
Well, I just got a text from my wife. Missed the birthday cake. Jenkins Jr. comes in with runners on first and second.
Junior enters the game to exciting music. Senior greets him on the mound.
All right, their best hitter is up and they got 2 men on.
2 persons on.
What?
There's no need to be gender specific.
Senior looks at the burly men on the bases.
I'm pretty sure they're dudes.
The point is, by always defaulting to the male pronoun, you perpetuate a male-oriented world where females are subservient.
And Senior rolls his eyes, heads behind the plate.
J-Bone Park is up with the game on the line. Park has homered and walked twice.
Park steps into the batter's box in Korean.
I understand you are an art history major. So? Well, there's an exhibit at the Portland Museum in Korean pottery.
Senior sets up inside and puts one finger down for fastball. Junior pitches and Park crushes it. Foul.
That would have tied the ball game. Of course, it's just a game and not nearly as important as family.
They have a lot of Korean pottery from the 16th and 17th centuries.
Really? I haven't seen Korean art since I left Seoul.
Again, Senior sets up inside and calls for the fastball. This time, Park crushes it even further. Foul.
That would have won the game for Ty Rodder.
Of course, all Korean pottery is plagiarized from Chinese pottery.
Take that back.
Senior stands and they're nose to nose.
It's common knowledge that compared to the Chinese Ming Dynasty, Korean pottery is derivative and immature.
Your mother eats whale dung.
They nearly come to blows. The ump gets in between. Senior gets back behind the plate. He puts down 3 fingers for changeup. Park fumes as Junior throws a slow change, and the furious Park is way ahead of it.
Strike 3. Junior Jenkins gets his first save as the Blue Sox win. Happy birthday, Colin.
Interior locker room night. The team celebrates except for Grisby. Junior rubs Misty. Exterior field night. Junior is pitching.
The Blue Sox are clinging to a 1-run lead with 2 on and 2 out in the 9th.
Senior puts down the sign for changeup, and Junior shakes him off. Senior puts down the sign for curveball, and Junior shakes him off again. Annoyed, Senior puts down 1 finger for fastball, and Junior pitches. The batter crushes it.
There's a drive deep to left. Hernandez goes back.
Carlos makes a leaping catch.
And makes a spectacular catch, and the Blue Sox win their 7th in a row. That's 6 saves for Jenkins Jr.
Interior manager's office. Later, Houghton opens the door.
Grisby, get in here.
Grisby enters and sits cross-eyed.
I'm gonna need your uniform.
It won't fit.
I don't mean for me to wear it, I mean you're not on the team anymore.
You're cutting me? Why?
Because you're not good at playing baseball. I like players who are good at playing baseball.
What am I supposed to do now?
You can drive for Lyft.
Lyft? What's wrong with Uber?
I prefer Lyft.
Interior bus later, the team celebrates. Senior sits next to Junior.
Hey, you shouldn't shake me off like that. He nearly homered. You gotta mix up your pitch sequence.
Yeah, I don't need your help. I've gotten this far without it.
He gets up and walks away from his father. Ramon watches with Carlos in Spanish.
I would never speak to my dad like that.
Clearly unresolved Oedipal issues.
Interior motel room night. Grisby angrily packs up his stuff. He notices Junior's stuffed animal Misty and snatches it. Exterior motel night. Grisby tosses Misty into the dumpster and keeps going. Interior motel room night. Junior returns to his room. He notices Misty isn't where he left him.
Misty?
He starts looking around. He looks under the bed. He looks in drawers. He starts freaking out.
Where the hell can he be?
Cut to interior motel room later. The room is topsy-turvy. The mattresses are off both beds. The drawers have been pulled out of the bureaus. The desk and chairs have been overturned. Junior is despondent. Interior motel hallway day. A bedraggled Junior approaches the motel maid.
Hola, senorita. Did you see Elefanto?
Elefanto?
Si, Elefanto a poco.
I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish.
Interior hotel lobby day. Junior talks with clerk behind the counter.
Can you describe the elephant, sir?
Senior enters the lobby.
He's about this big with a missing ear and crazy hair. It would really be a disaster if I can't find him.
Can't find who?
My foster child.
What? You have a foster child?
I don't spend a lot of time with him. Sound familiar?
Junior walks away while Senior fumes. Interior field night.
It's 7 o'clock back home.
A batter is hit by a pitch.
That means it's bedtime for my 5-month-old daughter, Jenna Rose.
The batter charges the mound.
Daddy loves you. Yes, he does.
The bench is empty.
You're my sweet little bunny bunny. Yes, you are.
There is a full-scale brawl on the field. Interior field night.
With the Blue Sox up 6-3, here comes Junior Jenkins to close it out.
Loud music plays. The fans cheer. Junior, head down, depressed, slowly makes his way out of the bullpen. Cut to interior field later. Junior gives up a double.
That's 3 hits in a row against Jenkins Jr.
Time!
Senior comes out the mound. He and Junior cover their mouths with their gloves.
You know your mother kept getting the clap.
Slut shaming my mom isn't gonna work this time.
Cut to interior field later. Junior gives up a home run.
And it's the first loss of the season for Junior Jenkins.
Interior locker room night. Houghton approaches Jenkins.
Damn it, Junior!
Coach?
She shakes her head. Houghton walks away, leaving Junior alone. Interior field day.
Tonight, the first place Blue Sox begin a 3-game series with the Wabash Chiefs. The Wabash mascot Chief Mischief makes his way around the field.
A white man dressed as an Indian chief rides a donkey slowly around the outskirts of the field, greeting fans.
How?
Damn it, McNally, that mascot is racially offensive and culturally insensitive.
What?
Interior announcer's booth.
There seems to be a disturbance down on the field.
Exterior field day. Junior is now nose to nose with Chester, yelling at him.
What, you idiot? You have no idea what the broader social implications?
Senior and Houghton try and calm Junior down. Too late. Francis watches from the stands.
You're out of here!
And Jenkins Jr. has been thrown out of the game before it starts. Never seen that before.
Interior stadium day. Francis sits across from Junior.
You saw how offensive that mascot is. What was I supposed to do?
Is it possible there were other reasons you were kicked out? More personal reasons and less about the broader social implications?
What do you mean?
Are you worried that without Misty, you won't perform well?
A quick montage of the team losing and Junior pitching badly. Interior hotel lobby day. Senior's at the desk.
Has my package arrived?
Not yet, sir.
Interior Francis' office day. Francis meets with Junior.
You realize Misty isn't really good luck, right? It's just a hunk of fabric.
Interior Francis' office night. Francis listens to the game on the radio.
It's nice to be back home after a long road trip. I'd like to thank my wife, Joan, for doing something special for me this morning. But you dads out there will understand.
Interior field night.
With the score tied in the ninth, here comes Junior Jenkins.
Loud music blares, the crowd cheers, the door opens and Junior strolls out of the bullpen, depressed. A montage of Junior getting hit hard again. Interior field later.
Down by 2 in the bottom of the ninth, Jenkins Sr. is up to 2 out and the bases loaded. Or Jenkins Jr. is up with 2 out and bases loaded and a chance to snap their losing streak.
The pitcher fires a strike past Senior. It registers 96 on the scoreboard.
Strike!
The next pitch comes in, 97.
Strike 2!
The pitcher gets ready to pitch.
Time!
Time!
Senior steps out of the box, then back in.
Time!
Time!
He steps out again, then back in. The pitcher ready.
Time!
You can't keep calling time.
Sure I can, you fat slob.
What? You're out of here!
Senior is kicked out of the game.
Johnson strikes out, pinch hitting for Jenkins Sr. and the Blue Sox lose again.
Interior manager Houghton's office night. Close up on Houghton.
You stink! You're losing every game!
Sorry, I'm doing the best I can.
Houghton turns to Senior and Junior.
That's it. I'm sick of the other team getting more runs than us. We're supposed to get more runs than them.
Houghton looks to Junior.
You're benched until further notice.
Junior's jaw drops. Houghton turns to Senior.
And you were brought down here to help him and he keeps getting worse. You're benched too. Now get out of my sight.
Exterior manager Houghton's office right away. Senior tries to console Junior.
You're just in a slump. It happens to everybody.
Don't pretend you care about me. You just want to use me to hold on to your career.
End of Act 2. Act 3. Interior motel room night. Junior calls Grisby. Interior car night. Grisby answers his phone.
Hello? How much do you want for him?
What? How much do I want for who?
Misty, my stuffed elephant. I know you took him. How much do you want for him?
Do you hear yourself? You're a grown man. I don't have your stuffed animal, dude. And I told you, set up man if we're cursed.
A passenger gets in Crispy's car.
I gotta go. I'm driving for Lyft.
Lyft? What's wrong with Uber?
Interior lobby day. The lobby is crowded with players.
Mr. Jenkins, your package arrived.
Senior takes the package and heads back to his room. Interior bus day. The players are all on the bus.
Junior, where the hell is your dad?
He has a tendency not to show up when you need him.
Did you hear what Junior said about his father?
I did. That type of dysfunctional family dynamic fills me with despair.
A montage of Senior opening the package and taking out a stuffed elephant. He cuts one ear off. He throws the stuffed animal into a mud puddle. He jumps up and down on it. He puts it through the laundry. Interior announcer's booth day.
Look who drove all the way to Binghamton to visit me. My wife and 4 daughters. You know, night after night, I sit here and watch young men scratch their genitals and think, what a stupid game. Family. That's what it's all about, folks.
Interior dugout mid-game. Senior arrives.
Where the hell have you been?
Family emergency.
I want you going in for Johnson. He took a foul tip off his left testicle.
Okay.
Maybe it was his right. It's hard to tell from here.
Senior pulls Ramon aside and shows him Misty.
All right, when Junior comes into the game, I'll give you the signal, and you wave this so he sees it.
Many of us comforted by relics of our idealized notions of childhood.
All right, that's fine. And don't tell him it's from me.
Exterior field day.
Down by 2 runs in the 8th. Utica has bases loaded and nobody out. And here comes Jenkins Jr. out of the bullpen.
The announcer shuts the mic off.
God help us.
Junior timidly arrives on the mound.
If you let these runs in, I'm sending you down to single A. You got me?
Junior nods. Senior gives Ramon the signal.
No pressure.
Houghton returns to dugout. Ramon waves Misty.
Ramon has something to show you.
Junior turns and sees him waving Misty.
Misty! Well, where did he find him?
The hotel maid found him.
A montage of Junior striking out 3 hitters in a row. Interior Francis' office night.
Junior has pitched out of the jam.
Francis beams. Interior announcer's booth night. The announcer has his boss standing over him.
I'd also like to apologize for calling baseball stupid earlier. It's obviously a beautiful game and not a waste of anyone's time.
Interior locker room night. Houghton addresses the team.
Bowman, you were only throwing 89. Junior was throwing 93. Now 93 is higher than 89. It's 4 numbers higher. So we're going to put Junior back as the closer.
Interior lobby day. Senior sits waiting for the bus. Junior approaches.
Anybody sitting there?
All yours.
Junior sits next to his dad. He holds up the stuffed animal.
This isn't Misty.
Pardon?
This is a fake.
You mean it's not a real elephant?
It's not the real Misty.
What'd you do, 23andMe or something?
Misty's left ear is missing. This one's right ear is gone. Somebody tried to slip me a counterfeit stuffed animal. I'm guessing it was you.
Okay, you caught me. You can let me have it again if you want.
How'd you know about Misty?
Because I got it for you when you were 3.
You did. Mom said Santa gave it to me. I mean, I didn't know it was you.
It said on the package his name was Mr. Elephant, but you couldn't say Mr. Elephant, so you called him Misty. You went everywhere with him, and when I heard you lost your good luck charm, I figured I'd try to...
And you messed him up.
I wanted him to look authentic, so I had to rough him up a bit. An old lady almost called the cops on me.
Hey, guys, the bus is here.
Senior goes to get on the bus.
Hey, Dad. Wait up.
Interior hotel room night. Close up on Junior's face.
Here comes the fastball.
Junior and Senior are playing a MLB video game. Straight out.
I had to borrow that from the wardrobe.
Can we thank the actors again, please? I'll sit back.
Okay.
Well, you don't have to. I can go first if you want. You do. While my foot's asleep.
This feels very familiar. Part of the thing was I always did it. TJ was always talking to me, so now I'm like, oh wait, I have to be TJ.
Right.
So I love this world. It kind of gave me nostalgia for Major League, and it kind of the Bob Uecker character really just made me want to watch the movie again. But then I remember how offensive it was, and I was like, well, this one's better. I was so into the comedy. I mean, you literally were hitting joke after joke after joke, and it was just such a fun thing because comedy is not my strong suit sometimes. And I was like, this man made it effortless. The one thing I kind of kept connecting to was just the character Jenkins Sr. and Jr., their wants, needs, and obstacles. And I feel like the reason why the sportscaster kind of sung in a way was because we knew he wanted to be with his family, we knew he hated his family, we knew the obstacle was his job. It was very clear. And I wanted that a little bit more with the father and son dynamic, because you kind of play it for us, but they don't actually verbalize what they want or connect to, at least not in a bigger note for me. So once you kind of like, he wants a relationship with his father or he doesn't. I didn't even realize, even though you said the name, I thought it was a joke that it was Jenkins Jr. and Sr. I didn't realize they were father and son because they didn't even make a bigger deal out of it. Like he found out he was going and I didn't even connect as an audience member that was his father. And he was like a young man from Lewiston, and so I was like, where's the reaction of helping his son? And also the conflict, and he doesn't have anyone to talk to relay that. And you have an opportunity with the psychologist in a way, but you don't. So the audience or the reader could just skim over and then go back, and you never want the moment of someone to read the script and go, wait, I missed something, and then go back.
Right.
So that's the kind of bigger note. And I think the fun thing for me is just, when you have a character like that, you kind of, like, it makes you start asking questions when you start realizing, wait, did I miss anything else? And then I was like, he made the joke, his mom died, and then he's crying, and I was like, then it made me ask more questions. So there were moments where you have comedy, and because I didn't know what the characters wanted or needed, I didn't realize that he was playing with his son instead of joking. So those were my bigger things, but the world was so fun, and and it made fun of the Major League in a way with all the cultural insensitivities. But I also, because it's a TV pilot, I'm assuming, I also want to know more about the other characters because they also played jokey archetypes, but you didn't know anything. Like you knew that the Japanese man had an interpreter, but you didn't know necessarily what he wanted or needed or why he was here, and you did with the movie. So it's just like, what are these people and they live together? What are the dynamics of them? And instead of having, for me, like sacrificing a joke for maybe a story point, and that's always a hard balance too. But great job.
Thanks.
Yeah, what she said. Yeah, I found, because obviously I like it, and I like her writing, but it was interesting listening to it because it's like some of the peripheral characters felt like they had more to do and they were funnier, and then the two central characters, it was almost like you left them less explored than some of the other characters, and then which led me to Frances, who didn't really seem to do much in this episode. She felt a bit like that she was kind of there so that you had an opportunity to do something that you needed to have done, rather than she justified her value, in the story as a contributing member, as a human being who's going to be in this series. She's not quite there yet, I don't think. I think she's sort of there because you want her to be there for a reason. So I think there's room there, and I think, but given that, there's also room for more of an examination. Like the only thing, if you think about it. I'm supposed to say nice things too. I mean, it was really funny, and David did a great job with the announcer. The voice he chose. And,
it was so funny.
Yeah, well done, David. If you think about it, if we all think about what we know about Junior and Senior from their interactions, all we knew up until the last bit was the same kind of beat over and over again. And there wasn't any, like Junior's character didn't really, we knew he was into Misty from page 2, and that he hated his dad, and that was sort of it. There was nothing, like, I think there are opportunities to make him more of a human being in this, that are other things that perhaps could lead him around, or just give him a little bit more to do and a little bit more as a person. And the same with Senior. And again, going to what Oba said about the stakes, like when he's sent back, why I guess he needs the $1.5 million, right? That seems to be the reason why he's willing to not just retire. It doesn't seem to be that he feels anything about his son, or that impacts his decision making either positively or negatively. And I thought that was interesting, because if he really did care about him as much as you show him to do at the end, you would think that he would have a more visceral reaction at that moment, which leads to more comedy and or character, exposition, and more a sense of who he is and his motivation. So that's all interesting things to play with, just as you're sort of finding this, and the people in it. And then the final thing I will say is I'm not a huge fan of them playing video games at the end. If this is a TV series that's going to go on for 5 seasons, they should still hate one another by the end of this. Like a tiny thawing, maybe, like a sense that maybe something could happen, but then that door gets slammed again. I felt as I marked this and read it over a bunch more times today, that you kind of go easy on everybody. Like you give the offensive lines to the manager and the announcer, which are awesome, but you kind of leave Junior and Senior out of the fray. Like both of them are very pleasant. And I love that you gave Junior that whole, I want to save the world, but all he's doing is sort of verbalizing it. He's not doing anything, he's not sort of getting in his own way or, fucking things up. And the same with Senior, he's just sort of a pleasant catcher who sort of wants to help, but then that doesn't make sense if he's been away for all these years. And so you don't get them dirty. It's almost like you like them too much. and I think for the comedy and the drama aspect of it, or the emotional aspect of it, I think you need to make them a little less like
Perfect.
I think they really can work with being a little more unpleasant, especially Senior.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, because the other thing you want to avoid is, because when I told my wife, it's like, I'm picking this script and it's about this catcher who goes down to the minor leagues to help a pitch, and she's like, Bull Durham. She said, so you're doing Bull Durham? I was like, no, he's an old catcher and he's not hitting, and everything I said was like, oh no, this is more Bull Durham. So you don't want anybody thinking that. Especially not my wife. You really don't want that.
She wrote Bull Durham.
Yeah, she did.
My also global note is, what are they building towards? Like if it's a pilot, it's a TV show, there has to be like a season-long arc, or like a thing that they're like, what's the kid want? And like, does he want to get out of the minor leagues? Does he want to, is there a competition coming? Is there like, there's something that they're building towards so that you're putting it into the end of the pilot, so that you know what we're going towards and what the journey is. A lot of times when you don't build that mechanism, it just becomes a story about watching people talk and engage. And sometimes to bring people back, especially with TV, you have to the season-long thing.
To that point, something popped into my head. I kind of like the idea too at the end, where Senior does something that Junior doesn't know about, or like that we, the audience, get a peek inside one or both of their psyches that the other one doesn't see. So we are more aware of how deeply they feel, but they're being men about it, and they're not there yet, because you've got a whole season to explore this relationship. So you can leave a whole bunch of things unresolved, and way unresolved. And so I kept thinking when I was hearing it, and then I'll shut up, that you did such a great job making all the other characters say, really strong, funny, just strong things. And I think if you apply that to the two central characters, where they're really, they're really into this, I think this thing will really pop. So, because it's already, just funny and clever and lovely and has great potential for me. So, all right, I will take you, sir.
I love the whole thing. First of all, very, very funny. I think there's some rich comedy rabbit holes you can go down between the father and son. I have that exact same relationship with my son. Being a kid, comic on the road, I missed a lot of his life. And I call him Gene Pool. He calls me Missing in Action. And we're constantly busting each other's balls in public, to where people are looking at us like, they like each other because they're laughing, but what they're saying is pretty deep issues. Like, this is weird but funny. I think the comedy rabbit hole you can go down with those two busting each other's balls about just, you know, him not being there and him being super sensitive, and they like each other but they don't like each other. He still has an issue because his dad was gone, and the dad has an issue because he's trying to get the son to like get back on track with him. And I think there's some rich comedy tug of war in there that you should explore a little bit more. I also think that between the two dads, there is, like, I'd like to see the announcer dad and senior dad kind of get into it with each other, where they're busting each other's balls about wanting to switch places, but they don't really, because they kind of admire each other's lives, but at the same time, they're kind of like okay with where they are. And I think there's some rich comedy opportunities for those two dads to kind of play ping pong with exchanging, flirting on switching shoes, but not really. And then the manager can jump in and referee that with some funny lines, or you know, so he kind of chimes in on that whole kind of volley that's going on between there. So I think between the dads busting each other's balls and junior, senior busting each other's balls, and the manager kind of refereeing all that, and I think you could get more laughs out of those characters and those situations.
And a lot of busted balls.
But brilliant, very funny, and I loved it.
All right, thank you. Mickey?
I second everything you guys said too. It's hilarious, and I think that the concept of it, like the dad going back to help the son, is great. But I would second what these two said, and maybe offer just sort of like a way to look at it, which is just the emotional point of view of senior in particular from the very, very beginning, even maybe before he goes into that office. Because what you've got set up is kind of great. Like, this is his second chance. If he can help his son get to the majors, if he can help him succeed in this, then he's sort of like, you know, making amends for that. But I never really get the sense that he is wanting that or thinking, and maybe that's not exactly like how you're thinking of it, but I think that if there are scenes with him, and by the way, you have tons and tons and tons of scenes. Like, there are a lot of games and a lot of like individual scenes that are like, this happens and this happens and this happens. Whereas if you took the opportunity to say, this happens, this is how senior feels about it, and this is the decision, this is the change that makes in him, so that he acts this way. So for instance, just like to get one specific, is when he makes the switch to get him angry, because he thinks that that's going to help. Like, he kind of just comes up with it, but if we saw that moment of why he thinks that, is it like, does he know that he's that way? Did he see something earlier that spurs that? And to take us inside his like thought process a bit, I think that would be super helpful in pulling us along and taking us into his emotional journey. Because I think that is a great story that you set up here. It's just like taking us inside it a bit. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be dialogue or sort of on the nose things. It's in the action too. Something he sees that Junior does that is the same mannerism. Or the two of them sitting on the bench together and they do the exact same thing the same way, and he notices. So something like that are just little things that are behavioral things that I think it takes us inside their emotional story a bit more.
Very good, thank you. By the way, Mickey, that's Mickey Fisher, who has been an insider before and was the creator of Reverie and Extant on NBC, and so I'm so thankful that you're here. Oh, CBS and NBC. Sorry, thank you. One on CBS, one on NBC. But yeah, so thank you so much for coming. And Felicity hasn't said anything, and she's lurking in the background too there. Do you have anything to say, Felicity?
I feel like you already made like a big entrance.
No. As a former insider, you get first dibs on comments. So.
No, I really loved it. I think because I'm not a sports fan, it took me a second to kind of look into the tone of it because I was trying to work out what was going on. Honestly, like it's just one of those things. As soon as I kind of realized like what game we were playing, that made things a little bit easier for me. But I love it. I thought it was like completely off the wall and like a little bit weird, which I absolutely adore. But I agree. Like I think that central relationship needs a little bit of work and deepening because it does feel like there's all this peripheral comedy that's happening, and I'm missing. And because of that, I'm not paying attention to what's happening with those two in the way that I should be. But otherwise, I think it's really great.
All right. I will take one more. Who has it? Is that Glenn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
because again, like all the characters around the father and the son had so much life, and I think the thing, and I mean especially again the announcer, we get so much of that great sort of like the undertone of the whole show is really coming from him. The things that I kind of wanted mind a little bit with Junior and Senior was we get sort of the stakes with Senior's got the ex-wives and the contract that he's got to carry out to see the rest of that 1.5, and then you've got Junior who is trying to come up in the out of LA. But there was something I wanted something else with the stakes for them, I guess. And I think with Junior, I didn't see that he loved the game. I didn't see that he loved baseball. So either I wanted him to love it too much, or he's playing for another reason, which gives the father something to do that, well, you gotta play for yourself. And there seemed to be something lurking under the dad, that there was some other sort of stakes outside of because it seemed like you set up the elephant and you set up the contract, but it seemed like there was something else that was boiling underneath that I just couldn't find, that I was kind of looking for, that I wanted kind of pulled out for the two of them, since that relationship is sort of like the ride we're going on essentially. I think that was the thing that I wanted to see, was the stakes emotionally and professionally, and how they were not working together and working against each other.
All right, thanks, man. What's up? Ali?
I think you have so many like great jokes coming from so many great characters. One thing that I was like noticing was that the dad in the middle, the Junior and Senior, don't really get the jokes. They don't really get to have the jokes, I mean. That was something I was observing. The other thing that I was observing is that like women don't really exist in this universe as equals. I think we have the psychiatrist who does kind of feel like an afterthought. Like she just kind of thrown in there and wasn't really given the full like arc. And I think that if you were like a little bit more mindful, you can like bring in, I think just, if this is going to be on television, like women would exist in that universe. So I
All right. Because Lindsay's got her hand up, I'll do Lindsay and then Grant. I'll let you finish.
Thank you, Queen. My question is, I know nothing of the sports. Are managers of baseball always male?
Yeah.
Always male?
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah. I think for the whole
I really love to have
I don't know if there's one woman.
I don't think there's a woman manager.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
Sorry. Yes, you, ma'am.
Yo, I loved it. I really loved it, and I'm a huge sports fan. My dad played AAA, so I really loved it. I think you're really solid with all of the characters. I love the announcer and all that. I think kind of PF Log were saying, or what she was just saying too, is that they don't like the jokes, and I was thinking in my head, I really wish that as I was watching it, because everybody's so solid and stuff, I was like, oh my god, I would love it if the dad was just such an ass. Like, and I think in my head, like David Bryan, he's kind of down, that kind of, I guess, kind of character is just like, not apologetic at all, and it's just such an ass. And maybe his son is just insanely good. And that's the stakes there, and that's kind of what I was missing too, was the stakes between the dad and the son. They were very pleasant, as you had said. And I was just thinking, well, like, why wasn't he there? There's so much backstory I would love to know. Like, why now? Why does he want to be his dad now? Why is he so eager to help him with all of this, you know? And is that, like, threatening to him, too, that he's going to see his son, like, become this amazing, probably one of the best baseball players or whatever. But that was kind of my only note, was getting the characters with their stakes. But I just love the idea of exploring with the dad and the son, because they can really go either way. Like he was saying, it could be, maybe he is really wanting to be his father again, or maybe he doesn't, like, at all. You don't see that until, like, the third season. And then all of a sudden, he, like, wants to be his dad, and we're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. They were just, like, best friends and whatever. But
Have you seen Brockmire?
I just saw the
Pilot, which one of my favorite pilots ever, by the way. You may hate it, it's okay, you're allowed to hate it. But I love the way that they dropped that character into the middle of it, and the way they told his backstory, and then he made unexpected decisions, and then by the end of it, it's like, well, this guy's completely fucked. But I don't know why I'm watching this guy. Because he's such a sort of a jerk, and yet I'm oddly compelled to watch. So, and it was set around baseball, in case you haven't seen it. I think we're going to stop because Brian will hang around afterwards, right? So people can. Sure. Yeah. So come and chat with him. But I just want to keep the ball moving. What did you learn? That was not a baseball. Oh, I didn't do that on purpose. I did not. I should take credit for that. What did you get from listening?
Well, it was just interesting to see where the laughs were and where they weren't, and what was, the pacing and all that kind of stuff. I have so many friends that came in. This would be an amazing comedy show, by the way. There's so many great comedians here. I have no idea. We should have just had a show. But I just wanted to say thanks to all my friends that came out.
Yes, thank you to all of Brian's friends who came out. Well done. Stop deflecting. What did you take away from that for you?
Well, I think the points that you two made and the other people made are really good points and things to, for rewrites and things to think about. I will say I've worked so hard to figure out how to get women into this, because my first version there was a female umpire, and the consultant that I worked with was like, it's
not
like
me.
You're having this. He's like saying it's like you're having the Jackie Robinson story, but Jackie Robinson isn't the lead. So having a female umpire and having her not be the lead didn't sort of make sense. So I didn't want to do the female owner that I feel like we've seen a million times, and I also didn't want to do a love interest thing. So it's just very hard with a baseball team to get women in there, but it was something I was conscious of, and I do need to develop Frances more, because I think that she could be a key. And I wish she were sort of involved in the resolution of the plot. I think that would have helped a lot,
She could be, given you've set up the manager being so sort of, score more runs than them, she could be secretly managing.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, she's guiding the manager. She's like, you know what, you might want to put Hernandez on third or pinch hit for him. And he's like, I'm a genius. Look at our winning streak. And well, that's just a pitch. That's a pitch.
To that point, like, the father seemed to know everything about every character, which, he's been doing this for so many years, but if you gave her some of those moments,
right.
Because she has a secret, so she knows how to operate his son better than he does, because they haven't had a relationship. So the father knew things, but he knew it as a baseball player. Maybe she knew something as a psychologist wouldn't be able to tell him exactly what.
Great.
Yeah.
No pitch. You don't have to.
Yeah, no.
Or maybe a bald girl who's like a brilliant stats, and she's like an amazing Moneyball girl who knows stats, who knows everything. She knows every player's little idiosyncrasies, and she's kind of like always coming up with the right thing for the right player at the right time.
Or it could actually be the psychologist who actually is that person. She could be both.
Yeah. So. All right. Well, did you enjoy that?
I did.
Okay.
It was terrifying.
No.
Thanks, Brian Kylie.